That's the one thing about our audience. They always want a new guy to break through the glass ceiling.
All you have to do is just be real.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am the jabroni beating, pie eating, trailblazing, eyebrow raising, talking is done, you're out of your class, no sleep till Brooklyn, The Rock whips your ass. Woo!
I wish you and King would quit talking.
Welcome to Around the Ring, episode 78. It is New Year's Day, 2017, January 1st. Did you survive New Year's Eve, Floyd?
Yes, I did. I had a very happy New Year. Spent it with the new girlfriend, watched some When Harry Met Sally, one of my around New Year's traditions, and, watched football, so it was a good day.
All right. That movie kind of set the stage for all romantic comedies to come. I mean, it pretty much defined Meg Ryan's career, because how many times has she remade that movie?
Yeah.
But yeah,
and it's the thing about it is, it was like a movie I saw very young in my life, and it actually, one of the weird things you might hear, it defined a lot about how I feel about relationships and how relationships should be. I've always wanted my significant other to be my best friend. It was because of that movie.
See, that's really good, because that's actually kind of healthy. I, on the other hand, learned about romance from John Hughes films, and that'll kind of fuck you up.
Yeah, that'll kind of mess you up.
Yeah, pretty bad. So this week we're going to go through the last week that was in wrestling on TV. Now, neither of us happened to watch NXT this week. It was the Osaka, Japan show, and we just both had other things to do. So we're not going to talk about NXT this week, but we are going to go through Raw, SmackDown, and 205 Live. And then we're going to go through doing some predictions for the Wrestle Kingdom show, which happens this Wednesday at some time in the middle of the night for us, but in Japan it'll be at a prime time. It's a stacked card. I can't wait to talk about that. And we've got a couple of top fives we're going to do. Our top fives this week are top 5 things we want to see happen in WWE, and then top 5 things we think could actually happen in WWE in 2017, whether we want them to or not. So it should be fun. But before we get into all that, so we do know that there were a lot of celebrity deaths that happened in this last year. Of all of the people in wrestling that passed away, was there anyone that really affected you, Floyd?
Let me just say this. They all affected me, but unfortunately, when you become a wrestling fan, and over the last 10 years, you realize by choosing what they do and the lifestyle they do, they almost choose a short life. It sucks. I don't want it to be that way, but it seems like it is. So whenever you get someone like Mr. Fuji who makes it forever, you definitely celebrate those people. And then you have the people that unfortunately die a little younger, and you just remember it, and you take that moment. And now you have the WWE Network. You go watch their matches, some of their promos, and see how they affected your life, and make them remember, and you remember them. So no one really affected me hard, but you know what? They were all significant to me.
Yeah, the two that really kind of hit me, and it's nothing like 2015 where we lost Dusty Rhodes and Roddy Piper, which were just, nice to the heart. But the two that I was most familiar with and that really affected me were Mr. Fuji and Blackjack Mulligan. Because I remember actually, watching them, Fuji as a manager and Blackjack actually as a wrestler. And so that really sucked. It was almost like 2016 was like, okay, look, we're going to screw everyone else over, but 2015 hit wrestling pretty hard, so we're not going to take any of your uber legends away. Okay, you got them you got 1 year off. So hopefully that trend will continue in 2017, because Lord only knows we can't really lose anymore. It's okay, that was depressing. All right, so you want to talk about Raw?
Let's talk about Raw.
Okay, Raw was in Chicago, Illinois. God bless Chicago, Illinois, because they can take a boring and bad show, and if nothing else, they can make it interesting because Chicago crowds are always on fire. So what'd you think of Raw? You got any takeaways?
First thing, the Stephanie shot, and if you could keep it up 2 minutes and 14 more seconds, you'll last longer than CM Punk, was an all-time classic. I don't know how long. I don't know if that was a writer, if that was her, or if they were just waiting for Chicago to use that. But the timing on it and how she said it, she nailed it.
That was very good.
Yeah, and this show was all about getting Braun Strowman over. That was the goal. I mean, and they did. He looked dominant. He's not supposed to do a lot of moves because he's a big guy. He has no reason to. I just thought the show was exclusively about getting him over, and it did. He decimated everyone. He looked good doing it, and when it comes to big men, less is more. He did a lot of the same moves, but when someone that big does those moves, it is significant.
Oh yeah, he's the first person that's taken that over-the-shoulder power slam and made it look like a legitimate finishing move since the British Bulldog. Because otherwise, most other people do that, and you're like, you're going to pin some fool with that, really? But he does it, and it's brutal. And you're right. This whole show was about getting Braun Strowman over, and I think they succeeded. The crowd was really into Strowman. I would have liked to have seen a couple more of his finishing moves busted out through the night, but they were doing a really good job of just getting that power slam over. The thing I thought was really interesting about this night, from the beginning of the show, you have Chicago, Illinois despising Roman Reigns. I mean, that poor man came out to a shower of boos. Not quite as bad as a WrestleMania or at the Royal Rumble, but he was booed like a champ. And but then at the end of the show, it's like as soon as he is working with Seth Rollins, by God, they love the man. It's so funny with this poor dude, because it's like, I think deep down fans don't really dislike him. They dislike the way WWE uses him. And as soon as he's back with either of the guys from The Shield, and it's not like he's being made out to be Superman, people enjoy it. And I wish they could do something like that more permanently, but I know they have their desires of making him the Samoan Cena and all that stuff.
See, and that's the whole thing. This actually goes along with what we're saying. I read some articles and saw some interviews from Ryback, where they basically said, he says that with a conversation with Triple H, that the WWE doesn't want another John Cena. They don't, because once you're John Cena, it gives you all this power to leverage against the company and make more money and blah, do all these other things. So they don't want another John Cena. I don't know if that's true, but that's what Ryback's saying. He's kind of spilling the beans on all the backstage stuff with the WWE because he's annoyed right now. But I can see that, because if you look at the way they book things, they don't make anyone look overly dominant. Roman Reigns loses quite a bit. He's pinned quite a bit. I know it's not as much as everyone probably wants, and I hate on him sometimes too, but he's pinned quite a bit. He's definitely, after his title run, think about it. He's held the belt maybe a total of 3 months.
Yeah, his reigns
through
have
all
been
his
short.
title reigns, he loses the belt very quickly.
Yeah, his biggest problem, I think, Roman Reigns' biggest problem is perception, the way that he is perceived. And there's not a whole lot that can be done about that. Other than really WWE seriously taking him out of the main event picture for an extended period of time, and building him up as doing something else with him. Because as soon as he gets anywhere sniffing, world title level stuff, people get pissed.
Well, if you do like his original character in NXT, he was a heel. and they called him the LeBron James of WWE, and that was his character. He came out in the regular wrestling, the garb, but he's freaking huge when he's in that regular wrestling garb, and he just came out. And of course, you would have to get rid of the Shield music. I thought that was the biggest thing that they've done that was a disservice to him. They kept the Shield music. So when he comes out, people want the Shield. They hear the Shield music, and then they don't get the Shield. They just get him. So I think that's a huge disservice to him. You got to get rid of the Shield music and the Shield gear. Everyone else has moved on. Dean has his thing. Seth has his thing. Now we need Roman to have his thing, and he needs to get away from the Shield.
I agree. Yeah, keeping him in his Shield garb, keeping him in with the Shield music, all of that needed to change. Having him walk out through the crowd, all of that needed to go. He needs to, I don't know, wearing the suits. I like that idea, like he was doing in NXT. He desperately needs a character makeover, a heel turn, something, because this poor guy really is pretty darn talented, and from everything you can tell is a really nice guy. So you want him to have success. I want him to be successful, and the company needs him to be successful because they poured a shit ton of money into the guy. So he needs something different, because he's going to get so stale so fast, and he's going to just end up having a career. As much as they don't want him to be like John Cena, he's going to have a very John Cena-esque career. And even Cena has, as many T-shirts as he has sold, he is staler than the day is long. Even he goes away for a few months, he comes back, and within a couple of minutes, you're like, oh yeah, hey, it's John Cena.
Yeah, it's just they like I said, the big thing is, if people want to boo someone, just give them a reason to boo.
Exactly.
Let Roman Reigns. I mean, I know the heel turn is like the hot thing. It's just he needs a little time as a heel. He can play off the fact that people boo him already. I mean, they're already booing him.
Yeah, agreed. And it's something that would be great. Would be him turning on Seth. They work back, like they've got this great friendship again, and they all is forgiven, and then maybe he turns on Seth to help Triple H. Yeah,
and that would be amazing, because he beat Triple H at Romania, and maybe that beats some respect into Triple H, and then Triple H is like, you know what, I should have chose you. You should have been my guy.
Exactly. Did you have any other thoughts about Raw?
I'm kind of scanning through real quick, because I remember it. I don't remember it all the way. The tag match was pretty freaking epic. Even though, it ended, with Cesaro and Sheamus winning, which I have no problem with. I actually like the tag team. It was just done really well. They even built on the fact that Kofi and Xavier worked the match with Big E on the side, because they were trying to go with the speed, and then they worked the speed style. It was a very weird time where it was like what they said before the match and how they were building the match, they actually worked the match that way. So it was a little continuity there, and you don't get a lot of continuity in the WWE, so I appreciated that. And I thought Xavier is way better than anybody gives him credit for. Kofi's one of the best wrestlers, or most athletic wrestlers. I don't know how you want to put it, but he's a great wrestler in the company. It's funny because, he has the same problem as Kalisto. Sometimes the other wrestlers can't keep up with how fast he is. Like, there was a really, really botched spot where he was trying to do the SOS on Sheamus, and he was just moving too fast. And Sheamus was like, he can't move as fast as Kofi, so it was kind of...
Yeah, that was a bad spot, because it was all awkward for a minute there, and
then he just takes the back bump, and Kofi comes over the top, but it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird.
That was a fun match. I agree wholeheartedly, and that was it was because that was a segment pretty soon after the in fact, that was a segment right after the Roman Reigns Seth Rollins Stephanie stuff, and it was such a change seeing them, see this crowd booing the hell out of Roman Reigns, and then just lighting up for New Day and Cesaro, and still booing Sheamus. I think that is hilarious. That the 2/3 of this match is super over, and then you've got Sheamus. But yeah, that was fun, and these two teams have really good chemistry together.
They do. I agree.
And I liked seeing Xavier in there, and it's nice to see Xavier get some match time, because you were right. He is a lot better than people give him credit for. He is. I mean, it's always kind of a bummer not having him at ringside, because neither of the other two guys are as entertaining at ringside during matches as Xavier. He just has that down to a T. But man, that man can go, and he can fly, and yeah, I just enjoy the heck out of him. What else? Anything else stand out to you?
Honestly, it'll be my last point. Neville got himself as over as Braun Strowman is in that 30-second interview, or minute interview. He got himself just as over as Braun Strowman was as a cruiserweight. Heel Neville is the best Neville. I did not like, I wouldn't say Sami Zayn level, but it was close on face Neville. Heel Neville is one of my favorite wrestlers, just because I love the way he works when he's a heel. It's more effective. I buy it. Then his interview is just like, it's like he's been just reading the internet and just like, okay, and he is spitting venom, and I love it. King of the Cruiserweights Neville is my favorite Neville.
Oh yeah, I agree. And he has a great angry face. His just like snarl is fantastic. And I loved on this show that the crowd was actually into the cruiserweights, because so often in a lot of these cities, these crowds are not into it. And thankfully, Chicago is a smarky town, and you get the cruiserweights out there, and they'll actually know who these people are, and they are able to have good matches and get reactions. And yeah, Neville's promo was fantastic, and then going into what happened on 205 Live was also great. I guess we can, unless you have anything else to say about Raw, since we're on the subject of the cruiserweights, we might as well do 205 Live.
Let's do it.
Okay, so one thing that made me very, very happy about 205 Live is that it seemed like Chicago didn't decide to leave. The auditorium was still pretty much as full for that as it was for SmackDown. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this episode?
Man, it's finding its legs. The show has, I wouldn't say it's found its legs, but it's getting close. Every match had a storyline to it. The Cedric Alexander, it was Drew Gulak bringing his friend to beat up Cedric Alexander for what happened a week before, and you still had the Noam Dar and Alicia Fox aspect of it. So, that was a complete story that had nothing to do with the belt. You had Mustafa Ali, the Mustafa Ali match, because there was only 4 matches, but the Mustafa Ali match, he was at his hometown in Chicago. He got over for being from Chicago. He bust out this reverse 450 that was freaking amazing. Unfortunately, he did have to work with a dude that seemed to tear his ACL on the way to the ring, because by the time the match started, his knee was already jacked. So I hope he gets better soon. But he tore his ACL, and they just had to do a spot. But that reverse 450 made me forget the rest of the match. But yeah, just the whole match as a whole, whole show as a whole from beginning to end just seemed to, like I said, every match had its own storyline. And the match that had to do with the champion, it has a storyline where basically 4 people are going for that title right now. Like I said, it's found its legs very much.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was the best 205 Live that we've seen so far, and that's last week, if I remember correctly, had been the best up to that point. So we're at the point of this show starting to get better every week, and that is, I think that's awesome. My only thought when I was watching this, I was like, well, for the opening match, Tony Nese against Cedric Alexander, I was like, is this really the right match? Or more importantly, is Tony Nese the right person to face Cedric coming off the heels of that main event they had on SmackDown? And I know they're supposed to be two separate shows, but that's one crowd, and that crowd just watched a killer match, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And then to come down and see Tony Nese doing rest holds, it wasn't... he and Cedric don't have the best chemistry yet, or at least we haven't seen them have it. And I thought the finish to the match was pretty lame. But then that was really the only thing. I mean, the story elements of that match were great. Drew Gulak was great, and having him come out in a suit when he's next to Tony Nese is the perfect thing to do, because he doesn't look all dumpy. So that's great. Tying in the stuff with Noam Dar and everything. The story elements of that were really good. The match itself was meh. And Mustafa Ali's reception was great. You're right. That 450 splash thing he did was amazing. His promo after the match was actually really good.
Yeah, it's kind of like he went face.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He went face in that interview, which was like, you don't work as a heel. We're changing you.
Yeah, well, maybe it's going to be a situation. It depends on the crowd. If a crowd boos the crap out of him, maybe he gets angry. And if a crowd cheers him, he's like, okay, you guys are cool. And that would be a compelling character, I think. I also wonder about his ring gear, because he seems like a dude who's probably pretty ripped. So why he wears a shirt, I don't know. But he's really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what else he's got going on. The Jack Gallagher stuff I thought was fantastic. And
yeah, I was saving that for this next section because I think it deserves a little more time.
Yeah. So what tell us about Jack Gallagher and your thoughts on that.
He's so entertaining. He has his character. He's worked it on the indies. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff he's already done on the indies, I can't prove it. I don't watch it. But it's just entertaining. And it's wholesome because he plays the gentleman character. He doesn't, need to cuss or anything like that. So, you can have your kids watch him. But he has a subtle comedic timing that is amazing. Like the looks on his face, the inflection in his voice. He can wrestle, don't get me wrong. But this segment was all about comedy. And it was you just saw a lot of stuff that you see in TV shows and in British humor that I was so impressed. This guy is perfect for the WWE.
Yeah, I agree. They're doing a fantastic job with him. And the other great thing about it is he's actually getting Arya Daivari over. And Daivari is boring as bathwater. And Jack Gallagher is getting this other guy over. And that is so great. The whole thing was... Gallagher is fantastic. He is just a breath of fresh air in the WWE. And watching him is so entertaining. Part of me wishes we had been able to get him, do a run with him in NXT, but I'm enjoying him so much on 205 Live that I'm okay with him not having gone through NXT. So, he's fantastic. I can't wait to see what he does next. I hope at some point he's able to graduate from the cruiserweights onto in the bigger title pictures. That would be really nice. Either that, or I hope eventually that the cruiserweight title gets elevated to the point where it's seen as, similar level as the women's title and the world titles. That would be nice. It's going to take years for that to happen, if it ever does. But apparently Triple H was saying in an interview that he really wants 205 Live to become kind of its own separate brand that tours on its own as well. To which part of that makes me excited to think, okay, that's cool. Make it more of an indie type show.
Yeah.
And then another part of me is like, how many freaking brands do you guys want? I mean, geez Louise.
They really do want something for everyone, and because it's having a different brand, because it's having a bunch of different brands, it makes a bunch of different headliners. And the more wrestlers you have and the more brands you have, injuries hurt you less.
That's true. Well,
I mean, 'cause right now, people aren't really noticing that Finn Balor is not there because so much is going on in wrestling.
True that. That is very true. Unlike in 2015, every time someone went down with injury, it was panic attack mode because what the crap are they going to do? Another person got hurt. So yeah, you're right. One thing I heard, speaking of the Triple H stuff, I was listening to Wrestling Soup this week, and one of the hosts, Joey Numbers, he's done ref stuff in indies all over the place, and he knows a lot of people that work for WWE, and what he has heard through the grapevine is that the original plan was 205 Live actually wasn't going to exist. They were going to show Evolve on Tuesday nights, and then Vince put the kibosh on that for some reason. And I just thought that was really interesting, and I don't know if they were going to do that, how much of the cruiserweights were going to go through Evolve and whatnot. I would still love to see Evolve shows on the network. I think that would be a great idea. I mean, they've got 7 days a week, 24 hours a day of time they need to fill up. Might as well put some Evolve shows on there. They're your feeder system anyway.
Yeah, any indie show I'm happy with. I know, again, New Japan declared war. I would love this pay-per-view from New Japan to be simulcast on the WWE Network. That would have been great. I just think the WWE needs to reach out and to get as many fans, as different type of fans as they can, because with the $9.99 price point, it's a great way. It's a great reason. It's cheap enough where people, if you have a lot of different content, they will keep paying for it.
Exactly. In a way, it's almost they need to, instead of thinking of the WWE Network as just their product, they should almost try to become like the ESPN of professional wrestling.
Correct. And I can say this, I could see a big reason them not doing it is because there's a lot of stuff allowed at those companies as far as wrestling moves and things like that you would have to rate as TVMA on WWE Network.
That's fine. You show it after 10 p.m.
I agree. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they have the Attitude Era on the network, and it's unedited. So, I mean, you can watch Chris Benoit on WWE Network anytime you want to. So they go a lot against their rules for the WWE Network. I just think they need to make even more of an exception for these indie shows. You know, of course, the shows would have to kind of go over with what's going to go on there, so it's not like heavy bleeding or whatever. But
right.
Still, it's like, you know what, you're going to get them. They shouldn't even charge you because you're going to get them over by them just being on your channel.
Oh yeah, that's something that they shouldn't charge for. And I don't know if maybe a situation where you have, Evolve still does their pay-per-views on the WWN network that they have, but have a weekly show of some kind on the WWE network, or just show past Evolve shows, because you don't want to. In a way, you don't want to screw up Evolve's or any other promotion's revenue stream. You want them to be able to get more money, and they would have to have some kind of contract where they're allowed to promote their own thing. Like if New Japan somehow worked out a contract, they could say, hey, you like what you see? Check out New Japan World for more in-depth New Japan coverage, blah, blah, blah. But that would probably never happen. There was a couple other things I did want to talk about on 205 Live. I thought Austin Aries has a career for life after he retires as being a commentator, I think. He is so good. I mean, ridiculously good. It's surprising how good he is. I mean, I know he's always been a good talker, but not all good promos are good commentators. And he has taken to this role so perfectly. And I loved his little reactions to the Austin Aries chants. And even at one point he was like, said something like, I appreciate it, but let's focus on the match at hand. He's so good.
He's such a natural commentator. It almost seems unfair. I almost don't want him to join 205 Live because I enjoy him as a wrestler, because I enjoy him so much as a commentator.
I'm right there with you. I know what you mean. Speaking of commentary, there was bless you. There was a great moment during the Neville Rich Swann match, which I thought was fantastic. But Corey Graves made a comment, something along the lines of, "I barely remember Raw from last night," and that cracked me up because I just thought to myself, "You and everyone else."
Yes. It's funny because Raw has decided to be a very solid C show every week, and they're okay with it.
Yeah, and then SmackDown gets higher ratings, and they wonder why.
I was going to bring that up, but I was like, this is a significant SmackDown episode.
It was. But real quick, before we get to that, one last thing I want to say. That Rich Swann, Falcon Arrow, Michinoku Driver combo move was awesome, and that needs to be a finishing move.
I feel like that should be his finishing move. And, of course, I know they've known each other a long time. They had great chemistry. And when they do their title match and they turn it up to an extra notch, it's going to be a match of the year candidate.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's go on to SmackDown. And SmackDown this week was, again, still from Chicago, Illinois, same building. And so my first thought is I did see this episode kind of spoiled. Unfortunately, I was flipping through cage side seats looking for the rumors, because the rumors don't always tell you what exactly happened on the shows. So that feels like a safe spot to go to, even if you haven't watched this week's programs. But I saw that American Alpha won the tag titles, and then I watched the match. The match was really good. Super shocked that they let American Alpha pin Randy Orton, though that makes American Alpha, that just skyrockets their stock immediately. You pinned a 12-time world champion.
Well, everybody was wondering what the feud was going to be with the Wyatts. So I was very impressed that they just said, hey, we're going to put these two young guys with these two veterans, probably two of the best wrestlers we had, and we're going to let them put on a program. But also with the program, they're going to have the beef with Randy Orton and Luke Harper, maybe setting up something for WrestleMania. I personally don't want them to break up the Wyatt family anytime soon, because I think it just works. But the WWE, as we know, either has something way too long or they cut it off way too short.
Yes.
So,
and great minds think alike. My exact note from watching this was, I hope they don't break up the Wyatt family anytime soon.
Yes, because I just think the whole dynamic of Randy, I would like Randy to go closer to the Wyatt, start wearing a little bit more Wyatt clothes, not just go full Luke Harper, but just, change his gear a little. You know what I'm saying? He's been wearing the same thing for 12 years. Let's, adjust it to the story that you're telling right now.
Yeah.
But I know they pay for their clothes, so
and we're probably lucky
not to spend any money.
Yeah, and we're probably lucky that he's at least willing to go with the shaggy beard.
Yeah,
because he is kind of prim and prissy a little bit. He's a very pretty boy, pretty boy.
He is, but you've seen he's letting the beard grow, and he really is getting into the character. Yeah, and I just feel like that would be that extra step.
Yeah, I agree, and they really do. At the very least, they need to save the breakup until Mania. At the absolute least, because these three guys are so good together, and maybe it's a situation where they can keep Bray Wyatt can somehow keep the peace between them, but they're always like bickering brothers. But when it comes right down to it, they have each other's back. That could be for compelling storytelling. But yeah, this iteration of the Wyatt family has been the best iteration of the Wyatt family since they first debuted. Because I really did enjoy when their especially their feud with the Shield. That version of the Wyatt family was so good. And then you had when Harper and Rowan should have won the tag team titles. So so this is great. What else from SmackDown stood out to you?
All right, yeah. John Cena's return. I thought that interview had a lot of passion. I thought he played to the crowd well. This is not anything Cena hasn't done in the past. I just felt actually compelled by what he had to say. And he's not turning heel, but he's going to the more dickish John Cena. I'm John Cena. That's why. That's the only reason he's going to be the number one contender and take a title shot, because he's John Cena. He's never been like that. You know what I'm saying? He's also always been like the hustle, loyalty, respect. I got to earn my spot every day. No, I'm John Cena. I'm taking this spot. I'm number one contender. Who's going to wrestle me at Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I like that too. And that honestly, from what I can tell, that fits his personality more. Because sometimes the hustle, loyalty, and respect stuff to me seems really forced.
Yeah.
And in this promo, he seemed much more comfortable, for lack of a better term, much more just himself. Like he's
naturally a dick.
Yeah, so let's let him be a dick. And that would...
He's such a dick, he doesn't even realize people are booing him.
God, that's amazing. And boy, did Chicago let him have it too. That was...
Oh God, they booed the crap out of him. They pretty much it was like, oh, why'd you come back? But then, I don't know if it was all the title matches, and they did a really good job of building this show up as a minor pay-per-view. So they did a really good job of building the show up. So I don't know if it was the minor pay-per-view aspect, but this will be, people will remember this SmackDown show, because it was the show that outdrew Raw. December 27th was the show that outdrew Raw, and they actually put on a really good show. I thought this was in the BB plus area, which is pretty consistent for SmackDown. But yeah, that tag match, I think they did it really well, because at the end, you're like, oh, American Alpha had been beat up the whole match, and the Wyatts hadn't been in the match at all. And then they come in, and it's basically a fresh Wyatts against the American Alpha. It gets Alpha even more over. They're so good. I hate that their finisher is getting so routine. I'd like it to come a little bit more out of nowhere, but they do have their program that they work, and they do it really, really well. Jason Jordan is amazing, and I think Chad Gable is better. And I'm not saying that to disrespect Jason Jordan. I just think Chad Gable is like another level of talent.
Oh, yeah. Chad Gable's this guy who, well, you really think about it, he hasn't been in professional wrestling very long. A couple years, maybe 3 at the most. He shouldn't be this good. I mean, it's stupid how good he is. And the comparisons or the parallels between him and Kurt Angle are just... they're just there. I mean, you can, because Kurt took it to, like a fish to water, just the same way that Gable has, and the chemistry between him and Jordan, and it finally clicked for Jason Jordan when they got together. I just really hope that this title reign is longer and more successful than the title reign they had in NXT. Because they defended, at least on TV, that belt all of one time and lost it.
And I think that's pretty much what's going to happen this time.
That would kind of suck. I mean,
I think the goal, to me personally, because they built this up as a minor pay-per-view, because they were trying to get people to watch the show, I thought a title change had to take place. I didn't know which title was going to be. I knew it was either going to be the IC, it was going to be one of the lower belts. It wasn't going to be the WWE title. So I didn't know what title was going to change place, but I made it very clear that I thought a title was going to change. And someone says, you think the tag belts? And I was like, there's no way, because they're really trying to get the Wyatts super over right now, right?
Right.
And then Alpha wins, which I was like, okay, that was awesome. You come with the shocking title change. But yeah, the Alphas are going to give the belts back either next week or at Royal Rumble. They're going to give the belts back, because the goal is to get the Wyatts, not to get the Wyatts over, to take on the momentum, because they're already over.
Yeah, and a good way to do that would be to have, I don't know, let's say Randy Orton dead to rights, and then Jordan's about to hit the spear in the corner, and Luke Harper gets in the way and eats the spear, and that allows Bray to slip in and hit a Sister Abigail and win, and then that patches things up between Luke and Randy, and they get the belt back, and it makes American Alpha still look strong because you have freaking Randy Orton dead to rights. So that would be a great way to do it. And then what they could do is transition to, maybe this would be an opportunity at Rumble to have, say, the Revival show up and attack American Alpha. And then that way American Alpha gets tied up with someone else while the Wyatts defend against other people. And I know it would be heel on heel, but I would absolutely love to see the Wyatts and the Usos go at it. I think that could be a killer match.
Yeah, I would say the same thing about the Revival and the Usos. The Usos, when given a great team to work with, usually can put on a really amazing match. So I'm definitely down with that aspect of it.
My only other real thought coming out, other than the main event, I thought was fantastic. The women's match, I thought Becky Lynch did an excellent Pentagon Jr. impression with that arm break maneuver, because that's what Pentagon Jr. always does down in Lucha Underground. And I'm guessing that Alexa Bliss is double jointed or something, because when her arm was hanging like that, that was some freaky looking crap, man. Ooh, that was, that had me there. I was like, oh, damn, that, So, yeah, that was, and I love that she's never pulled that out before. So that was a lot of fun.
You know, she was double jointed.
Yeah.
It was pretty kind of amazing how she just, it came out of nowhere. And I was like, my stomach kind of twisted a little bit because I didn't, I was like, did she just really? Did she just, did that just happen?
And yeah. So, any other thoughts on SmackDown?
No other thoughts on SmackDown. I'm good on SmackDown.
All right. Well, this week on Wednesday is New Japan Pro Wrestling's biggest event of the year. And for a lot of people, 2016's pay-per-view of the year was Wrestle Kingdom 10. So this Wednesday, January 4th, Wrestle Kingdom 11. It is the 26th show that they have done on a January 4th out of the Tokyo Dome. It's their big event. And instead of, picking it's the first Sunday or whatever, they just do January 4th every year. And then they follow it up with their Raw After Mania, which they call New Year's Dash, on the 5th at Kurikan Hall. But this is a big event, and it is a really stacked card. So we're going to go through this and give our thoughts on who could win. The opening match is on the pre-show. It's the New Japan Rumble. And as of right now, we've got, and I'm going to butcher these names. I am so sorry. We got Tenzan, Jushin Thunder Liger, Nakanashi. Okay, we got a bunch of people, and I'm just going to really fudge these names up. So I'm just not going to even try. This is always just kind of their, let's get everyone in the match. It's a battle royal, and normally it's a lot of fun. And sometimes they use it as a place to debut people, either young boys or, other folks. I want to say that Juice Robinson, aka CJ Parker, was in this match last year, or if not, I know he was doing young boy stuff. So who do you think is going to go over on this one?
No clue. I don't.
Exactly.
I mean, most of the people that are in it. I mean, I could guess a name, a random name I can't pronounce. That's who's going to win it.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these people, unfortunately, I don't watch New Japan. I plan on watching the show. I'm very excited about the show. I don't watch it, so I won't know who a lot of these people are unless they are like the big, huge names in wrestling.
Yeah, and admittedly, what I know about New Japan, vast majority of it I've gotten from watching Ring of Honor and from listening to the Voices of Wrestling flagship podcast, because they talk a lot of New Japan. So that's where I've gotten a lot of my knowledge and my familiarity with some of these people, because a lot of these people, I don't know who the hell they are. Next match is Tiger Mask W against Tiger the Dark, otherwise known as Kota Ibushi, taking on ACH.
Really?
Yes. Holy God, that should be good.
So they're so Dakota, he's like in a mask.
Yeah, it's Tiger Mask W is Kota Ibushi under a mask, and Tiger the Dark is ACH under a mask. I'm guessing that Kota Ibushi is going to win. Is my prediction for this, but this should be a phenomenal match.
That should be a really good match. I'm not really like I usually not like, oh my God, but yeah, that should be a good match. I'm thinking Kota's gonna go over. I'd like ACH to go over. I'm a big ACH fan. Definitely that sounds like a good match there.
Heck yeah. And now apparently ACH, I guess, is done with Ring of Honor. So I don't know exactly what happened. Have you heard anything in the rumors about what went down there? No.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. He apparently is done with Ring of Honor. He's doing just more stuff in Japan right now. Next up is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks defending against Roppongi Vice. I tell you what, Roppongi Vice, to me, I thought sucked when I watched them in Ring of Honor. I thought they were awful. And then I watched them in New Japan, and I was like, wow, these guys are actually really good. It's amazing sometimes you watch wrestlers and how some wrestlers work basically the same no matter where they are. And some night and day difference depending on what company they're working for. And Roppongi Vice is so good in New Japan and so mediocre in Ring of Honor. So I'm guessing the Young Bucks are going to retain, is my guess.
I'm going with Roppongi Vice.
There you go.
I think the ultimate goal will be to get the Young Bucks in the heavyweight tag belts picture. So I think because they're not junior anything, and that's been from what I understand, that's the storyline of God, Lord, the other KO, the other member of the Elite.
Okay. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega. Wow, I don't know how I blinked on his name. But that's the storyline of him. He's not junior anymore. So I think they might go along with that and try to make the Elite actually elite and have all the heavyweight gold. So I think they get the belts to.
That's a great idea. And at this point, the Young Bucks have won that title, I think, 5 or 6 times. They need to move up and do something with the heavyweight titles. Next match is a gauntlet match for the Never Openweight 6-man Tag Team Championship. The champions are David Finlay, Ricochet, and Kojima. They're taking on the Bullet Club of Bad Luck Fale, Hangman Page, and Takahashi, one of the Japanese members of the Bullet Club. Chaos, and this is Jado, Will Ospreay, and Yoshihashi, who is a lot of fun. And then okay, so it's Bushi, Evil, and Sonata. I'm not even going to try to, I can't pronounce it. Los Ingobernables something. Please don't be offended that I can't speak Japanese. So this has the potential of being a fantastic match, just looking on paper at who's in this. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking the Ricochet team wins because I like Ricochet.
There you go. I think either Bullet Club will win just because they want to put tons of belts on Bullet Club, or the Ricochet team retains. Hopefully they'll have some. There'll be a couple of good spots with Ricochet and Will Ospreay doing a callback to the Super Juniors tournament. I think that would be cool. Next up, we've got Cody Rhodes making his New Japan debut, taking on Juice Robinson, the formerly known as CJ Parker from NXT. I always thought he was kind of ridiculous in NXT, but I kind of miss him now because he was the perfect guy you debut people against because he bumps like a champ, and he was just a good, like, that next level jobber, that not the just I suck and I look like I'm terrible, but the jobber that's almost could be in the lower mid card kind of thing. And apparently he's been awesome in New Japan. So, but I think Cody Rhodes wins this. That's a no-brainer.
KO freaking loves that Juice Robinson. KO loves him.
Really?
He considers him one of his closest friends in wrestling.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
That's just from me. You know, I follow KO on follow him on Twitter, and he loved Juice Robinson. He was sad to see him go. So that was, you know, that's pretty, to me, that is more of a significant type of thing. But KO has always come off as one of those wrestlers. I like you if you were a wrestler, you know, that kind of thing. So he's always going to have wrestlers back. But he really did. He calls him one of the good people in wrestling. But yeah, he's going to put on a great match and lose to Cody Rhodes because that's what he's really good at.
Yeah, exactly. And he was the perfect person for when Kevin Owens debuted. He was the perfect foil for that. There were a few other debuts that he did around that same time. And then for a while, Ty Dillinger was kind of taking that role in NXT. But yeah, Cody will get the win easily. Next up, we've got Kyle O'Reilly defending the Ring of Honor World Championship against Adam Cole, baby. The interesting thing I think about this match is not just the match itself, which I think is going to be really good, but who wins will have as much, if not more, to do with who re-signs with Ring of Honor than anything else, because both these guys' contracts are coming up. I mean, is this now the point when Red Dragon jumps to NXT? Is this when Adam Cole jumps to NXT? And I think whoever wins is the person who's sticking around at least for 6 more months. But it also, though, if New Japan really wants Bullet Club to have all the gold, then we get Adam Cole winning, and he becomes, I think, the first 3-time Ring of Honor World Champion.
I'm going with O'Reilly. I think Adam Cole, with his WWE ties with Kevin Owens, I think they're on the way.
I think so. I mean, what I would be really happy with is to see both Red Dragon and Adam Cole show up in WWE. That would be fantastic because I think all 3 of those guys are amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a great match, but whoever wins is the one sticking around, and whoever loses is probably the one going to WWE. That's my guess.
I completely agree. That is very sound logic on that one. Because I mean, what they would not put the belt on someone that's about to leave unless they're going to make them leave in some type of epic fashion. And I could see Adam Cole losing, and then kind of the Young Bucks turning on them the next night at the Monday Night Dash.
There you go. Yeah, that would be good.
You're a loser, you can't be a part of us anymore.
That would be really good. Now, I think Cole's contract goes through April. And O'Reilly's is up pretty much now. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That might be the match. I think that's a match I'm looking forward to second most. Ooh, that was bad English there. Okay, next up we've got the IWGP Tag Team Championship. It's a 3-way match. Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Roa, who are the champions, taking on Chaos, team of Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano, and taking on GBH, not the punk rock band from England. No, these are Japanese wrestlers, folks. Makabe and Hanma. Pronouncing that all wrong. I think Ishii and Yano are going to take this, and that will set up the Young Bucks getting the belts.
I completely agree. That's exactly what I was like. They're going to set up the Young Bucks becoming... they're going to set up the Young Bucks taking the heavyweight title, so I think we're going to get a double tag title change.
Yeah. And Ishii is a scary motherfucker, man. That guy looks like he will kill you. I mean, Ishii's one of those dudes, because he's got that headbutt his physique is not impressive, but when you see him like laying in on people, you're like, he is going to kill this guy. And you know what would be a fascinating matchup? Ishii against Brock Lesnar.
That would be a good matchup.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I was keep thinking if they build up Braun enough, it would be... if they build up Braun enough, it would be an amazing... Brock versus Braun would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. And, real quick, I forgot to mention this when we were talking about Raw. Braun Strowman has gotten really good. Like, he has improved so much in the last year, especially just since the brand split. And maybe they're just really finding a way to focus on what he's good at. But just in the ring, compared to when he made his debut, that match against, when he came in with the Wyatts against Roman and Dean, he has just gotten so much better.
Yeah, and it was like he was trying to do too much. He was doing that reverse choke slam, and he was trying to break out some moves that, maybe he wasn't that comfortable doing. And now it's, okay, I do this, I do it well, I am huge. I don't sell until, they basically throw a brick at me. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with being that character. To me, not every character has to be able to do a 450 splash or a moonsault. His character is big dude that it basically takes the world to beat him down. Everyone will fall. I dig it, and they're doing it right. He's actually what the Big Show always should have been, and they kept making them comedic characters, and I understand the Big Show likes to do it, but he's what the Big Show should have been his whole career.
Yeah, I can see that.
When someone pisses the boss off, guess who you got to face tonight? Braun Strowman.
And, at some point, we really do need to have Braun Strowman against the Big Show. That needs to happen. Braun giving the Big Show that power slam would be extremely impressive.
My whole thing is, I don't know when the Big Show's gonna go, but this is not a spoiler at all. Everyone knows it's coming. They're doing the Big Show versus Shaq at WrestleMania. I don't know who's gonna win that match. Probably Shaq, because he's the guest. And after he wins or whatever, like, Braun Strowman just basically tells him he's Big Show, he's useless, and like dominates him on Raw the next night.
That would be a great idea. And in fact, you could have Strowman come out after that match and just destroy the two of them. You could have they're shaking hands, Big Show's raising Shaq's hand, and next thing you know, Strowman comes in and just kills them. But back to the subject at hand. Next up, we've got the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Kushida defending against Kamitachi. Now, Kushida's held this belt since, as far as I can know, he's been champion since Wrestle Kingdom last year when he beat Kenny Omega. So he's had a pretty long run with this belt, if I'm not mistaken. And let's see if the old interwebs tell me that I'm wrong. But let's look here. I think I'm right, possibly. New Japan. Wow. I guess he's a four-time. Wow. Interesting. Wow. So he's won this belt a lot, and let's go down real quick here. Oh crap! Stop. Kushida. Oh no! Wait, he did. He beat Omega. He lost it to Bushi, and then he beat Bushi for it. So he held it until September. He lost it in September and then regained it in November. But he's held it a long time. I don't know on this. I think this is going to be a fun match. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
No.
Okay.
I really don't. I don't know either of the people, and I think I'm doing a disrespect if I just, make up crap.
There you go. That's fair enough. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna just say I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm watching the show. I'm doling out the money for a non-WWE show, which I don't do very often, because I actually got to go back this week and watch the match with Nakamura and AJ Styles, and I just thought it was an amazing match. And I was like, why am I not watching this show every year?
You know, that is a great match, and it. Sadly, though, it makes you look at Nakamura and go, man, he is, other than his match against Sami Zayn, this man has been phoning it in NXT. Now, to be fair, he can, because all he has to do is walk out, make a few faces, and dance a little bit, and that crowd loves him. So
I don't, and my whole thing is, I don't know if he's phoning it in, or, I mean, if he wrestles the same style, they wrestle a lot less in Japan. They don't wrestle the 300-day-a-year schedule. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So they can fight a lot more hard-hitting. I don't think people would survive his style in the WWE.
You know, that's a good point. So
I think it would be a lot of people on the injury list, because a lot of those shots to AJ, dude, the reason I'm starting to dig Japanese wrestling is I can't tell if they're hitting them or not.
Yeah, especially in that match, and especially AJ likes to get hit. Yeah. So, and they both knew going into that. They knew that was really their kind of big final swan song in New Japan. Nakamura had another week or two, or maybe about a month left on his contract, but he told them he'd already told New Japan he was out. He ended up they did kind of a celebration go home show for him. But yeah, AJ, they knew they were going out, and they went out just on top, because man, that match is outstanding. Next up is the Never Openweight Championship match. We've got Shibata taking on Goto. And you talk another badass is Shibata, man. That guy.
Let's say that's a name I actually know, Shibata.
And you know, if in a way, if WWE wasn't already loading up with a ton of Japanese wrestlers, Shibata's another guy you could see going to WWE, because he's a good-looking dude. He is charismatic, and he's another. You put him in the ring against anyone, and it's legit, man. I don't care who he stands against. I don't care how much taller they are. There's a very good chance that I'm putting my money on Shibata, because that guy is badass.
Let me just say this: he's a scary looking dude. He looks like a Yakuza enforcer type dude. Yeah. Like, if you beat this dude, you're not coming back, that type dude. So, yeah, he scares the crap out of me. So,
yeah. I agree. I think he's going to retain as well, and because Goto is, if I'm not mistaken, Goto's the booker for New Japan. He's also a badass. This should be just a really hard-hitting match.
Goto. G-O-D-O?
G-O-T-O.
G-O-T-O. I actually watched a match with him and Finn Balor or Prince Devitt earlier this year.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Yep, he's really good. He's been around for a long, long time. So that's that. Now, I think they're doing, because sometimes I look at the Never Openweight Championship and I'm like, that's kind of their throwaway title. But I think with Shibata, they've done a good job of trying to make it more meaningful, because he is so badass, and he brings, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, a prestige to it. And
and I mean, like I said, when I look at the dude, I'm just like he's small, but he not small. Let me say that, but he's like not the biggest dude, but he looks like he will knock your lights out. And so, yeah, I dig that guy. I dig Shibata.
Yeah, I agree. Well, there are two more matches. The next is the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match. Naito, who is the champion, taking on Tanahashi, the legendary Tanahashi. This should be a great match, because these are, these two guys and Okada and Omega are the biggest guys, and and Shibata. These are the big guys in New Japan. Naito for a while was the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and he did this great gimmick where he would walk out with a belt and just throw it up in the air and let it fall on the ground and just leave it there, almost like he doesn't care. He's very almost disrespectful to New Japan, which gets him great heel heat. And Tanahashi is just the avenging hero that he's always been. He's the rock star looking guy, and so yeah, this should be an outstanding match. Who do you think's going to win?
I'm gonna go with the hero getting over at the show, Tanahashi. I actually saw him wrestle in TNA like a lot of years ago. He wrestled AJ Styles, but I think he's really good. Dig his moves. I think he goes over.
Good call. I'm actually I don't know. I'm happy either way. I think both of these guys are well deserving of this title. So I don't really have an opinion. I just it's another one that I'm like, I don't know, but I can't wait to see it. And then we got the main event, IWGP Heavyweight Championship match, Okada defending against Kenny Omega. Is there any doubt in anyone's mind that Kenny Omega walks out with his belt?
Oh, Kenny Omega definitely goes over. It's been a year of Kenny Omega, and I think this is how you start off 2017 as, even further into the building of Kenny Omega as their guy. He has no plans on leaving New Japan. He says he has work to finish there, so they're definitely going to get behind him and the Young Bucks because they pretty much dominate the indie scene right now.
Yeah. Now, there's been rumors floating or speculation that Kenny Omega has a long history with Kota Ibushi, and with Ibushi being in the building, are they going to do something? Because if you watched the G1 Climax match where Omega won, he went through a series of finishing moves. He used Ibushi's powerbomb. He used AJ Styles Clash, and none of these would get the pin until he finally did his One-Winged Angel, which is such a cool move, which finally got him the win. So it would be cool if maybe Ibushi comes out and challenges him. It's going to be... I think you're going to see at the end of the night Bullet Club standing in the ring holding tons of gold. And yeah, I really hope that there's no shenanigans in this match. No one interferes. There doesn't need to be, because these are two of the best wrestlers in the world, and I just want to see a really great, long match.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I hope he does a call like he did in I don't want the same spot, but a similar spot where he gives a call back to the other leaders of the Bullet Club, where when he hit their finishers, I just want it to be this epic match where you're sure Kenny Omega's going to lose, and then he pulls it out.
Yeah. Oh, and that's right. He did Bloody Sunday, because he did Ibushi's move, and they did Prince Devitt's Bloody Sunday, and then he did the Styles Clash before doing his own move. You're right. I hope that happens too. That's a nice little callback. So that is Wrestle Kingdom coming up here in a few days. I am super stoked, and New Japan has done a great job in the last few years of putting together a show that makes everyone else in the wrestling world go, oh shit, this is what we have to compete with the rest of the year. We are screwed. So I'm sure that's going to happen again this year. So let's go on to our top 5 for the week, and we've got 2. So let's do our top 5 things we want to see happen in WWE, whether or not they're at all possible. So do you have any honorable mentions?
I just went with the straight 5 on this because I just went straight 5.
There you go. I did come up with an honorable mention as we were talking earlier, which was Roman Reigns turns on Seth Rollins to help Triple H. I think that would be very cool. So what is your number 5?
KO goes Renegade face.
Oh, that's a good one.
I just think it's setting up for that. he played a similar character in Ring of Honor, and that was actually the KO that I actually fell like in love with, where he was just like this anti-hero. He still cheated, he still did all these things, but it was all to get at the authority in that case, which would have been Jim Cornette.
Oh, that's a great idea. So my number 5 is I want to see Cedric Alexander challenge for a world title at some point.
That is awesome. Yeah. I'm a big Ced fan. He is not your traditional cruiserweight because he didn't wrestle in the juniors or anything until he came to the WWE, and he did what he needed to do to get a job. So I would like to see him go back to the more heavyweight division.
And he's a guy with his stature and physique, he would not look out of place, in a match against AJ Styles or Seth Rollins or any of these other guys, because he has that stature.
Way back.
I mean, I kind of prefer him. If he gained it back in muscle, because he does, admittedly, his physique looks better now than it did when he was in Ring of Honor. Not that his physique was ever bad, and I would kill for either of them because I'm a fat man. But he just looks so ripped, and you're right. I think he saw the Cruiserweight Classic as his opportunity to get into the WWE maybe faster than he would have had a chance to otherwise, or maybe even, who knows, maybe he thought, or other people were telling him, this is going to be your only shot, which I don't think is the case. I think he would have gotten signed eventually anyway, but this sure got him in there faster, and yeah, I would just love to see him, wrestling for, main event status. What is your number 4?
Roman goes heel.
There you go. Good call.
I don't know how he's going to go heel. I would love him to join Triple H as more of like the blue chip player. I want him to go in on Seth. Like, I can't believe I picked the little guy. This guy looks like me. He has the attitude like me. I mean, this is the horse I should have bet on.
Yeah, I agree. Now, okay, this is completely almost off topic, but the phrase a blue chipper has always kind of confused me. Can you define that for us?
No.
No?
I have no clue.
Okay.
I have no clue where it came from. I would love to. I would love to Google it up real quick, but I'm not going to pretend to be smarter than I am. I know I've heard it blue chip stocks. I've heard it on blue chip athletes my whole life. And it never at one point it's like, you know what? Let's look up where that came from.
Yeah,
I'm sure it had something to do. If I had to guess, and this is just an educated guess, had to come something from farming. I'm imagining like when trying to bid on a horse or something like that, they put a blue chip on the really big ones or something like that. But I don't know where it comes from.
Okay. Well, I just did, as we were talking, I Googled blue chip, and the definition that comes up, it's an adjective denoting companies or their shares considered to be a reliable investment, though less secure than gilt-edged stock. And another sub-definition is of the highest quality. Interesting. So I guess it does come from the stock market.
Okay.
The origin, as befits the sometimes high-risk nature of stock picking, the term blue chips derives from poker. The simplest set of poker chips include white, red, and blue chips, with tradition dictating that the blues are the highest value. If a white chip is worth $1, a red is usually worth $5, and the blue $25. Interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense now that think about it. The blues are always more expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow. See, hey, man, we're educating folks here on the Around the Ring podcast.
I had never knew, but I guess that makes sense in the things that I use, because in everything where I hear about blue chip, it's always with a risk. He's a blue chip athlete. There's a risk that he's not that great of an athlete. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of something I might use more often now.
Yeah, all right, very nice. Well, back to the list. The list of Around the Ring. That was bad, I'm sorry. That just gave me douche chills. Ugh. Anyway, my number 4.
Man.
Drink it in. That list of Strowman part was pretty funny. Jericho was on point on Monday. That was pretty funny stuff. Anyway, my number 4 is that WWE works out a deal with various indie promotions to put their shows on the WWE network. I think most likely it would be most likely that the Evolve, the WWN family would work something out with them, but I don't know if their Flow Sports contract will have issues with that. But I don't know. Maybe even Progress or some of the European stuff. But I know right now they're doing their whole UK championship, and they're planning on doing a UK show possibly if this goes over well. And then that's all to get back at World of Sport, which they're freaking out about apparently. But anywho, what is your number 3?
I can set this up in 3 words. Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think he's earned a cachet, and he's had enough talent and he's a big enough name where he should debut on the main roster. I would love him to debut as someone that Kevin Owens brings in, because he needs someone to really have his back. I would prefer it to be something like that. But more than likely, he's going to go to NXT, and it's cool, and I can dig the NXT thing. But at some point, just having him on there, he has this energy about him. And he got Bay over just, and I think it'll be kind of cool to hear that in WWE, in the big arenas that they do. And he says, "I'm Adam Cole," and then everybody yells Bay. That would be awesome.
That would be very cool. We'll see him a little bit later on my list. So my number 3 is that Shinsuke Nakamura debuts on the main roster either at Raw or SmackDown after Mania, and he challenges either Brock Lesnar or John Cena.
So he just goes after the big dogs in the yard from the beginning.
Right. Because what other way to make him appear as a massive deal than to show up and either beat the piss out of Brock Lesnar or John Cena? Because you get your mainstream crowd, not that the shows after Mania are really mainstream crowds, but you get what better way than to put over this guy than for him to show up, say the Raw after Mania, and Brock Lesnar's in the ring, and Paul Heyman say, "We've got no one else to beat. There's nothing left for us to do." Lights go out, the violin hits, Nakamura comes out.
That's your go-to gimmick right there.
It is. It is.
The no one else to beat gimmick. I get it. I dig it.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar would be good just because they have a history. And if you want to pull Nakamura as this larger-than-life character, you would have to have him go against a larger-than-life character. So John Cena, I think, would fit the role better but Brock Lesnar would be amazing. If they were going to do Brock Lesnar Nakamura, I would like them to save that to a SummerSlam, personally.
Yeah, you could do that. And, I mean, even Nakamura could eventually go on, I have to beat all the icons of WWE tour, like he did with beating Finn Balor, where maybe he jumps from brand to brand to take on the biggest names. That would be actually really entertaining. But yeah, it's either way, you put him against either of those two guys, especially the good thing, if they do it against Cena, especially if he's being Dick Cena, if he's, 16-time world champion, he's beaten The Undertaker, he's beaten AJ, and he's just all full of himself, and then, go with my go-to gimmick. I think it's a good gimmick, but, it's a good way to...
They haven't done it in a long time, so... I that's how I understand it. I mean, if you were to see it too often, you'd be like, okay, well, they use this too much. It's a storytelling device that they use too much, but they haven't used it. So I'm waiting on it. I think it's gonna happen, and I think Brock Lesnar's the guy to pull it off. John Cena, he's always one of those tragic champions. He's a champion and he loses it fairly quickly. So I think Brock Lesnar would be the perfect foil.
Yeah, I agree. And Lesnar,
he just lost to Goldberg, and then he's like, okay, he eventually lost to Goldberg. Now I have the only blemish on my record. I've stopped.
Exactly.
And then Nakamura debuted.
And the good thing about doing it against Brock is, one, you could have that initial setup at Mania, and because Brock shows up every blue moon, you could draw that match out until SummerSlam. And the other nice thing is it's not for a title. And you don't, that way it leaves something else for Nakamura to do in the meantime and after the fact. Because if Cena's champion after WrestleMania, then Nakamura coming in taking the championship, it's like, well, what else is this poor dude gonna do? You've just blown the entire thing in one sitting. So, all right, what is your number 2?
Number 2, a main event faction that stretches all the brands. I'm talking Raw, SmackDown, NXT 205 Live.
Oh, that's a great idea. Who would you put in this faction?
If I had to, it would definitely be a heel faction. It would Triple H as kind of the J.J. Dillon type character. Roman Reigns would be the leader of the character, of this group, because Triple H would run it. And Roman Reigns would be his guy. And then it would be like a lot of Triple H's people. So Roman Reigns on Raw, maybe Dean Ambrose on SmackDown. Start with those two as, the Triple H's guys. 205 Live, Adrian Neville would be in the group. NXT, I don't know who I would put in NXT. But NXT, I would do it because he's been talking about NXT just being treated as another brand, not that you're being demoted at NXT, that he basically sends someone from the main roster that to NXT to kind of take it over, and then his tag team in the group, kind of his enforcers type group, would be, of course, the Revival.
I love it. That's a great idea. Yeah, that's apparently something else that Triple H was talking about in that same interview where he mentioned making 205 Live its own brand, and the UK thing being its own brand. Is he would like to see more movement between NXT and the main roster, where you go to the main roster for a while and then someone from the main roster comes to NXT. And he even was almost changing the way he talked about Raw and SmackDown, like they're not quote unquote the main roster anymore. And I think that's a great idea. Imagine if, I don't know, Dolph Ziggler got a run down in NXT, how much fun that would be. And so, yeah, that would be I like that. I think that is great. My number 2, Jay Lethal debuts in WWE, either in NXT or on the main roster.
That would be amazing. That would be great. If you wanted to do an answer, because New Japan does this. They have a faction to answer a faction. If you wanted to answer my faction, you could actually answer it with an all-indie faction led by Kevin Owens.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Like, these are guys that Triple H, you didn't make us. We made ourselves long before we came here.
Yeah, because you could have Kevin Owens. You could have Sami Zayn in there.
Like Adam Cole, baby, if he wanted to bring him in. Jay Lethal, of course. AJ Styles. I mean, there's a plethora, because they brought in so many indie guys. There's a plethora of self-made guys that you could have in there.
You could have Cesaro in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you really wanted to do it big, you do it where Finn Balor is the leader of the anti-faction against Triple H.
Oh, that would be so cool. Oh, I love it. Okay, what's your number one?
Number one, and I know they will debut this year, but I want it to be the debut representative of what they have done in XAXT. The Revival dominates is my number one. I want them to come in and win the titles the first match. I want them to come in and win either the Raw title or SmackDown title in the first match they wrestle, and they have a nice long run, because what they've done for tag team wrestling in general should be noted. And I don't think people understand that this tag team resurgence that you have on the main roster started with the Revival.
Yeah, the tag team wrestling resurgence really did start in NXT in general. You had, because you had American Alpha. In a way, even you could look at Blake and Murphy, and then
Lucha Dragons,
the Vaudevillains. And not to say that. Let's talk about most of their runs in NXT, because a lot of these teams have been poorly used on the main roster. Lucha Dragons and Vaudevillains, I'm looking at you. But yeah, the Revival, and you're going to see them in my other list. The Revival dominating, that would be fantastic. And they really are. I think beyond a shadow of a doubt, the best tag team in the world today. I mean, you can put them up against any tag team in any company, anywhere, and it's pretty safe to say that they are the best. And it's from going from two guys who were looked at as jobbers, who literally were jobbers at first, and they did that same template that they did with Blake and Murphy, except they are A, a lot better than Blake and Murphy, and B, caught on in a way Blake and Murphy never did. And they are just outstanding. And I want to see them dominate. I want to see them destroy, and I want to see them destroy even main eventers. I want to see them in matches against big name people and win. Kind of like they did with the New Day for a while, where the New Day got some wins over some main event level people. So yeah, that good call. My number one is Adam Cole debuts in either NXT or the main roster. Preferably at an event, one of the big takeovers or one of the big pay-per-views. And I don't know how it happens, but I want to see him come out, and I want to see CFOs take his ROH music and CFO it, because that music fits him perfectly, and do something similar to that as much as they can. And yeah, that would just be, I'd lose my mind.
That would be amazing, because I already had it on my list. I think he's getting hot as far as I am becoming more aware of him, and he did a good job of putting Kyle O'Reilly over, and I think he'll be, with the whole idea that WWE is bringing in indie wrestlers. I think they're gonna bring him in, and ROH is gonna do what they do. They do a really good job of building up the next generation and finding great wrestlers. So yeah, he'll be great.
There you go. All right, now we're gonna move on to the top 5 things we think could actually happen in WWE in 2017, whether we like it or not. Do you have any honorable mentions?
John Cena wins. That's an honorable mention.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's I had a non-WWE, which was Kenny Omega wins the IWGP title. We talked about that earlier, and I do have an honorable mention. Broken Matt Hardy debuts the after Mania or at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Oh my God, Broken. I think he's so hot that the WWE can't ignore him right now.
Yeah, he's like Hansel. He's so hot right now.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your number 5?
American Alpha versus the Revival. I know we're gonna get that series on the main roster. I think it's almost academic that the Revival, when they debut, are gonna debut on SmackDown because American Alpha is their big feud, and they're gonna want to put that on TV as quickly as possible. So I think that is definitely gonna happen.
And SmackDown, I think, is just a better show for them. The writers definitely, I think, for SmackDown have a better understanding of what makes their talent tick, and are able to get the best out of the talent that they have, and I think especially since these were guys who wrote for NXT, they will understand the Revival better and more than Raw would. So yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea. So my number 5 kind of is similar to my number 1 on my last list, which is either Adam Cole or Red Dragon debuts in NXT. I think one of those two things does happen in 2017. I just don't know which. And I would love it to be both, but if I'm going to have to pick one or the other, definitely it's Adam Cole. But I would also love to see Red Dragon show up and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish kick some ass. That would be... Can you imagine the matches, them against DIY?
That'd be some great matches.
Holy cow.
Yeah, we basically would have the IWGP Junior Division on NXT.
Exactly. And then they could keep going as tag teams. They could also do work on 205 Live, and they could move up into the heavyweight division, no problem. All right, what is next on your list? Number 4.
Number 4, Nakamura goes main roster. I know they're going away from the term main roster. We just discussed that. But, and how big he is, he's going to debut on Raw. Especially his entrance is the red entrance, and he wears the red clothes. He's going to debut on Raw. They're definitely going to get Raw's ratings up. And he, to me, very much should be the Mystic type character. I think less of Nakamura is more.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Raw is, as much as I was just praising SmackDown, I think Raw is the better brand for Nakamura because he is so glitz and show, and that's not a bad thing, but that would fit more in line with the Raw product than I think the SmackDown product. So yeah, I think that's great. That actually I did not include on my list because I have a feeling they're going to keep him in NXT for most of the year, if for no other reason than to carry NXT as a touring brand. But I would
I think Joe's going to be that. I don't think Joe... Everyone keeps assuming Joe's going to go to the main roster. I think Joe is going to be NXT. I think that's where he fits best. I know it might be weird, but I just think that's where he fits best. I don't think they'll know what to do with him on the main roster.
There you go. Okay. Well, my number 4 is the Revival debuts on either Raw or SmackDown, and as we just discussed, I agree with you. I think SmackDown is the right place for them. But yeah, the Revival is going to move to that next level, so to speak, and dominate in where they better freaking dominate. Otherwise, if they don't, then WWE is screwing it up big time. All right, what's your number 3?
Randy Orton turns on the Wyatts. But actually, because I wrote this earlier this week, and I actually think this is what will happen. I think Bray is going to turn on Luke Harper and choose Randy.
Man, I don't want that to happen.
Actually, I do. Because what has most people been wanting for years is the Luke Harper to have his own run. And it only makes sense that Luke Harper has his own run as a singles character is if the Wyatts turn on him. Because his character right now is insanely loyal to Bray. The only way he would not be insanely loyal to Bray is if Bray turns on him.
Oh, that's good. That's actually a really good idea. And then you could have an outstanding Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper feud.
Yes, and because, everyone loves Luke Harper, I think Randy and Bray would do a great job getting Luke over as a singles competitor.
And I would love to see Luke Harper in like the world title mix at some point. He was in that match were in the mix a few weeks ago, and I loved seeing him in there. In SmackDown's the place that it could happen. I would love to see him as a WWE champion at some point.
I think he definitely needs his own finisher. I'm a big finisher guy, so he hasn't really come up with one. He's been using that spinning clothesline, but it comes off really slow, so I'd like him to use something else.
And I'm sure he's used many other things on the indies because he has a very long career. So good one. I like that. And we're on number 3, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay, my number 3 is Samoa Joe debuts in the Royal Rumble.
Okay. I would love that because I'm going to be there. But I think his best fit is being the beast of NXT. He ends up being like a 9-time NXT champion. That would be awesome. He's the guy that you have to face before you go to the main roster.
Okay, now I could see that. He's the final line. Yeah, I like that. What is your number 2?
Number 2, The Undertaker comes back from extended run. And for The Undertaker, that means like 3 or 4 months. That's about as extended as his run gets. Because, he usually comes back for one match. So I think he'll be on SmackDown every show for 3 or 4 months. They'll write him some good material. He'll have his program with Cena. And, he'll go bye-bye after that. But I think you'll be able to get to see AJ Styles Undertaker, Dean Ambrose Undertaker. I think you're going to get to see some dream matches of young people you've always wanted to see with The Undertaker. And then I think he'll walk off in the sunset, and they'll announce him as the first member of the Hall of Fame next year.
For 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I would like, because he came out and he's like, I will no longer be defined by WrestleMania, and immediately disappeared. So that was weird. It's like I want to see him do something else one last run, and it's a shame that Sting has now been so injured that he can't wrestle anymore, that WWE will not clear him, because if Taker's coming back, then we could finally get, as probably awful as it would be, that Sting Taker match. Would be great, but I don't know. It really, there's so many questions, because what's going to happen with Cena? Because apparently, according to the rumors, which I was looking at the rumor roundup over on the good old Cage Side Seats. So the WrestleMania 33 talk as of right now looks to be Lesnar versus Goldberg, Triple H against Seth Rollins, and Shaq against Big Show. But then they're also looking at Cena and Undertaker, or possibly Roman Reigns versus Undertaker. I'm not sure how that would work, since Taker's a SmackDown guy, even though it is the double show. But I think we're going to get Cena and Undertaker at Mania. The big question is it for the belt? And if so, who comes in as champion? In a way, it's a shame that the Royal Rumble match, instead of being Cena against AJ, it should really be Undertaker against AJ. And then, as much as I don't want AJ Styles to lose the belt, but if this is going toward Cena hitting 16, let's have Taker beat AJ at the Rumble, hold the belt until Mania, and drop it to Cena at Mania. And that's kind of sort of on my list, because not that I really want to see that, but speaking of my number 2, I think at some point Roman Reigns will win the Universal title.
Yep, I just vomited.
Now, what are the chances of that happening at Royal Rumble?
9 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm just not happy about that.
Yeah, I mean,
but and so
they're building him as the double champ, superior badass, the person they've been pushing down our throats since the Shield broke up.
So if he wins the belt let's say he wins it at the Rumble, Kevin Owens gets a rematch at whatever that next Fastlane or whatever the fuck next pay-per-view it is. And then Roman goes on to face either the winner of the Rumble or somebody else at Mania as a big match.
Hold on. It's going to be like 6 pay-per-views between the... No, I'm just joking. From the Rumble and WrestleMania. You got to think they got a pay-per-view every 2 weeks. Jesus. So, no, hopefully that's when they start the abbreviated pay-per-view schedule. But yeah, I think he defends it against Kevin Owens, beats Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens gets mad at someone else because he thinks he cost him a belt, and that'll set up the WrestleMania. But my preference, of course, is Kevin Owens goes in to WrestleMania with the title, but unfortunately he is not big enough name to be on the main event at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think not yet, at least. And they have not done him much of a service with this title run. So I think probably you're right. I think Reigns is probably going to win at the Rumble, and this will lead to Owens and Jericho at Mania, which could be entertaining as all hell. So, and you could actually get Owens turning face at that point. What is your number one?
Number one. Again, I like the 3 words, the Demon reigns. And I think this will be the year of the Demon. Finn Balor comes back, and definitely as a face. I mean, he's very much a cartoon character that the children can look up to. In the red and black, he comes back and wins the title. My preference is that he fights Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, as in Roman, that's his rematch, and the Finn Balor goes over Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Oh, that would be... And imagine that entrance, the Demon entrance at Mania.
Yeah.
Oh, So, will he be healthy enough by then?
Apparently, yes. I mean, if you looked at his diagnosis, February was supposed to be at the latest.
Okay.
So...
Well, that would be... Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah, February was supposed to be at the latest.
Okay, well that would work. I like that idea, and yeah, in a Mania crowd would lose their minds if you finish the night with Finn Balor standing over Roman Reigns, and maybe they shake hands that night, and then maybe it's the next night that Roman Reigns just finally loses it, and that would be a great setup because the next night he comes out again showered in booze. And he just snaps and says, I did the right thing. I shook this guy's hand afterwards. Somehow this puny kid beat me, and just goes nuts on the crowd. And then finally we'd have a reason to hate him. So my number one, again, I don't want this to happen, but I know it will. John Cena wins 16. Either at the Rumble or at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's why it was my honorable mention, because it's like all the rest of the things I may or may not want to happen, but this is the one I'm dreading. Every record deserves to be broken, and if Triple H broke Ric Flair's record, I would have been okay with it. If Triple H got to 16, I would have been fine, because Triple H's career to me has paralleled closer to Ric Flair's. John Cena, as a super face, that just kept being shoved down our throat. Yeah, I honestly don't think in 30 years people will be like, you can't see me. I think in 30 years people will still be wooing. And that's the person I want to be the number.
Yeah, you're right. Of course, Vince loves John Cena. And
everybody loves John Cena. As far as an employee, if I was starting a wrestling company, the first person I would hire is John Cena. The reason being is no one is a bigger advocate of the WWE. The way the WWE does things never says anything bad about the WWE like John Cena. He is the guy you want to work for you.
Yeah, he is the company's bitch more than anyone else.
He really is. He is the company guy. He sucks that company dick like no one else's business. If you're starting a company, that's the guy you want working for you. And you're going to shove his face down people's throats because everybody else is going to hold your company hostage, a la Brock Lesnar, a la The Rock, all the people that CM Punk, all the people that got bigger than the WWE. John Cena is very much bigger than the WWE, and he only does what the WWE wants him to do.
I think he's probably smart enough to realize, though, that without the WWE, he wouldn't have been where he is.
The Rock realizes that too, but that doesn't stop him from making $20 million a movie.
True, but The Rock is charismatic enough. He could have still become, had his path gone a different way, you could still see The Rock becoming a super movie star. Because
I don't know. The millions and millions of The Rock's fans. I mean, he's a great looking dude. Don't get me wrong. So I kind of could see it, but not really. John Cena loves the WWE, and I think he just loves it more than anyone can ever imagine. So you want to talk about hustle, loyalty, and respect? No one has shown more loyalty to the WWE than him and maybe Pat Patterson, because he could be making #1 action movies right now. Look at him. He looks like a freaking action star. He looks like a G.I. Joe. You can put him as a soldier, you can put him as a cop, and everyone believes him as a badass. And he could do that, and he could be making $20 million a movie right now. And he chooses to be still basically, they say it's part-time, but he still does, everything he does has to do with the WWE. So he's pretty much full-time. This is about as positive as you're ever going to hear me get about John Cena.
Yes, yeah, and he does know how to suck that Vince dick better than anybody else.
Dude. He's on another level, and all I can do is tip my hat to him, because you know what? I say I love the WWE, but if I was to become a wrestler and I got to the point where I could make $20 million a movie, as opposed to the $5 million a year I make, being in 300 different cities and traveling and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure I'm going to take the $20 million a movie. I mean, as much as I love the WWE, he literally could be a movie star if he wanted to be. He chooses not to be. He has great comedic timing. In every movie I've seen, he's been great. And he just chooses not to do it yet. I mean, I'm not saying he's not going to be a movie star in his 40s, because someone that keeps himself in the same the shape that John Cena is, they're still pressing Sylvester Stallone as an action star. So I definitely think we can go with John Cena. So it might be something he does in the next 10 years, but he has been as loyal to the WWE as anyone. He has been the guy that hasn't tried to go away. He puts over wrestlers all the time. As much as people want to do the Cena wins thing, AJ Styles' year this year was made by John Cena.
True that. And John Cena does not age.
He doesn't. He looks a little different than he did when he was 25, but not much.
Yeah, not much. Not much. Well, that is pretty much it. I did want to get your thoughts on Ronda Rousey getting her butt handed to her the other night.
And this is, if we have any women that listen to this show, this is going to be an unpopular comment. Love sans edges. What I mean is, it's a simple concept, but she was destroying people. She got a boyfriend. She's 0-2 since that happens. She was talking about being in love and wanting to have his babies and wanting to move to a farm. Before then, her focus was being the best fighter in the world. Her focus seems to be now being a wife and eventual mother. So if that's the focus, I wish that best on you. But Saturday night, she looked unfocused. She came in there fighting a style that she was fighting against a superior boxer. I don't know why you would try to stand up with someone like that. It just didn't make sense. And pretty much, if someone told me, hey, Ronda's going to come in the fight and try to box Amanda Nunes, I'm going to tell you the fight's going to be over inside of 2 minutes because Amanda Nunes is a striker. That's what she does. She's an A+ striker. And Ronda, even if she was a B that night, it wouldn't have lasted long.
Yeah, relationships can do that, not just to women. It happens to men too. You get into a relationship, and it can really change your focus on life. And who knows? Maybe there's a part of her that just doesn't want to get the utter shit beat out of her anymore.
Well, and that's the whole thing. She wasn't. When she was at the top of her game, she barely got hit. She was dominating people.
That's true.
She won a fight in 13 seconds.
So
she was at the top of her game.
Yeah. So
you know
now,
what I mean? She's not at the top of her game.
Not at all. No. She probably needs to retire. She needs to at this point just say, "I'm done."
I will leave that to her, but that fight reminded me of Rocky 3. One person had the eye of the tiger and the other didn't. I'd never seen something that correlated to a movie as much as that. One person came in and fighting is their life. The other person is fighting is a hobby.
So what do you think of her chances now of coming to WWE?
I think Jonathan Coachman says it. How she lost pretty much cost her any shot at the WWE anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I'm looking at that now, that tweet and everything, but
she was thoroughly dominated. If you put her as better than one of your champions, you're saying an average UFC fighter is better than a WWE wrestler.
Well, that's why I think you have her come in and you have her beat Stephanie McMahon and then have to work her way up in the division, especially if she wants to do professional wrestling.
I don't think she wants to do it full-time. I think it would have been a one-off. Because I think if she wanted to do it full-time, she would have been doing it full-time. I mean, the WWE offers basically name your price type of situation. So if she wanted to do it full-time, she would have been doing it full-time.
So you think at this point... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dana White's completely loyal to her and pretty much would have let her do whatever she wanted. As long as she kept winning fights.
Yeah, that's true. So you think at this point we have a better chance of seeing Paige Van Zandt in WWE than we do Ronda Rousey?
She got dominated in her last fight, too.
But give it a few months. I mean, truly,
yeah,
I mean,
most people don't even know Paige Van Zandt got nominated, but she did. She got knocked out in her last fight too. So maybe I think Paige Van Zandt makes a better one. I think Ronda Rousey is a very attractive woman, but Paige Van Zandt is closer to the beautiful type of woman. So I think she translates to the WWE more. And like I said, her loss, most people didn't even pay attention to. Ronda Rousey needs she needs a great PR person.
Yeah, she needs a great PR person just to disappear for a while and show up as a surprise at some point. Or she needs one last fight where she just destroys somebody, and at that point, mic drop, I'm out.
Yeah. From what I understand from the MMA world, I like MMA, but I'm not into MMA as WWE, is that her style that she came in with, her game plan, was quite flawed, and most people think she would benefit from a team change. And that, if she was a part of a larger MMA team where she has people that fight a different style, that she would see more styles and she would be better prepared.
That sounds pretty logical. I'm really not an MMA fan. I've watched a few things here and there. It's funny because I love wrestling and I love action movies, but there's something I get a little squeamish when there are people legitimately beating the fuck out of each other. And that's what MMA is. I mean, granted, if it gets to the point where someone is just clearly destroying someone else, those refs are quick to stop it. Just like in that Ronda Rousey fight. I mean, that was just two massive punches, and the ref was like, nope, we're done. Just, no, stop.
It was that fast, but she actually hit her 4 times, and then the ref was like, "Oh, nope." That's how fast her punches was. That's how elite of a boxer she was. Everyone keeps saying she hit her twice. No, she hit her 4 straight times, unblocked to the face, and the ref's like, "Nope, this is it. That's it." Ooh.
Which it's. I think from that you think of these 3 things. You think MMA, boxing, and professional wrestling are they're very different, but they're also pretty similar and fairly relatable. And I think of the 3. The one that is, and this sounds weird, but the one that is safest for the competitors, I think, is MMA.
Because they stop the fight so quick.
Exactly. They stop the fight so quick. I mean, yeah, you can get broken limbs and everything, but you're fighting, especially once you're at the UFC level, you're fighting once every, 3-4 months, maybe?
Uh-huh.
So you have tons of time to heal. Refs are super quick to end a match if someone gets, one bad punch that it looks like it could concuss you, it's done, over. Unlike boxing, where the entire point of boxing is to punch each other in the head and face until someone can't stand up anymore. And so that is just a far more dangerous endeavor. And then you've got wrestling, which is probably the most dangerous of the 3, because you were out there, especially in the WWE, you would think, you get to the highest level, it's going to be easy going. Well, no, not really, not scheduling-wise. I'd say that it's a harder life on the indies, especially in Japan, but as far as just a schedule nonstop, they are doing crazy shit to themselves, and yeah, it's fixed, and they know what's going to happen, but they're really hitting each other, they're really falling on their faces, and that is really hard on the body. So
I completely agree with you. If in my perfect world, because of the multi-brands, I would hope that WWE would run less shows, and I would love to see it get down to like 200 a year.
They desperately need to. They need to stop running as many damn house shows.
Yeah, and I know the gates and the merch and all that kind of stuff, but I think for the health of the wrestlers, they did 200 Raw dates a year, 200 SmackDown dates a year. You have your NXT dates. You do a little less of the NXT dates, and then if you do 205 Live, maybe do those once or twice a week for the year, and it takes less pressure off the body. You have wrestlers' careers last longer. I think that would be best.
Agreed.
Kenny Omega and Jay Lethal and Homicide even says, my schedule is more abbreviated in Japan. They like it because they work less of a schedule there.
And they really need to do that, because if for no other reason, these even hot cities, eventually, if you're showing up there once a month, people are going to get bored of it after a while.
Yeah.
You gotta, sometimes less is more. And sure, maybe you're not getting that as many gates, but let's say you get places that are 3/4 to half full every time you come, and you do a decent amount of merch selling. Let's say if you cut back the number of times you go to a city and you can fill a larger building and sell more merch, then in the long run you're saving your fans, you're saving your wrestlers, more importantly, because those guys just get horribly messed up every day. Well, I think that's going to do it for this. You got anything else before we get out of here?
I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. My motto for this year, and I'm hoping everyone takes it on, is choose happiness. There's a lot of bad shit that can happen to you all year, but you know what? Just choose to be happy and choose to radiate happiness to everyone else.
I couldn't have said any better myself. We are out of here, folks. Happy New Year. We will see y'all next week. Be safe. Take care, guys.
You've been listening to Around the Ring on the Spark Radio Network.
All you have to do is change your point of view and believe.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Bam! Woo!
This sucks more than anything that I've ever sucked before.
What? for charity.